Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this very special event as we honor a true pillar of our community, Mr. Leigh Hudson. But before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the distinguished guests that are joining us here today, including our elected officials from Clayton Town Council. Would you please stand? Any other elected officials with us today? Buddy from Garner. Welcome to Clayton. And a show of hands of all of our Clayton Rotary Club members. Awesome. Welcome to you all as well. Representative White does send her regrets for not being able to make it today and is thinking of you always. Leigh Hudson has been a proud member of the Clayton Rotary Club for 38 years, and his dedication to service has left an indelible mark on our town. Through his leadership, through his passion, through his commitment, he has helped us elevate the Clayton Rotary Club and the town of Clayton to the new heights. Today, we'll hear more about Leigh's incredible contribution and present a special token of the town's gratitude. But first, I'd like to invite Councilmember Ruth Anderson to share some more about Leigh's life and his service to Rotary and our community. Please give a warm welcome to Nothing But Trouble. I'm in Councilwoman.
And now I got the it is truly an honor to be here today and to be honoring Leigh, someone who's done so much for our community. That's an understatement. Leigh Hudson is a name synonymous with service, leadership, and dedication, not just in Clayton, but across Johnston County and beyond. Leigh joined the Clayton Rotary on November 1st, 1986. From the very beginning, he embraced Rotary's mission of service above self. And I said that last night, that nobody imbues that more than Leigh Hudson that I can think of. Over the past 38 years, he's held nearly every leadership position imaginable, including 2 terms as our club president and a term as district governor. During his time as president, Leigh's leadership and vision was pivotal. In fact, from 2008 to 2015, under his guidance, the club grew its morning club membership from 19 to more than 70, which is true today. This growth wasn't just about numbers. It was about building a strong community of like-minded individuals dedicated to making a difference. Over the course of his time with Rotary, Leigh has sponsored 70 new members, sharing the Rotary mission and helping others find their place in service to the community. His mentorship has inspired countless Rotarians, and his influence has shaped the direction of our club for decades. One of his crowning achievements has been his tireless work with Rotary International Polio Plus campaign. In 2012, Leigh went above and beyond by commissioning a painting titled Rotary, Doing Good in the World. I have one of those prints and it hangs in my office, I'm proud to say. This piece of art wasn't just a symbol of our mission, it became a powerful fundraising tool. Through the sale of prints, Leigh raised over $17,000, providing more than 25 doses of polio vaccine. Leigh's passion for service isn't limited to global causes. Locally, he has led initiatives that have transformed our community. From 1990 to 2000, he funded and chaired the Johnston County Drug Action Committee, which worked tirelessly to combat drug abuse. Through grants and partnerships, Leigh helped establish programs that still benefit our youth today, including Johnston County Youth Services. He also tackled one of the town's most pressing issues in the late 1980s, the rise of drug crime in the Austin Acres neighborhood. Leigh chaired the Clayton Concerned Citizens Against Drug Abuse Committee in 1990, partnering with local leaders like Willie Henderson to run weekend recreation programs for at-risk youth. These efforts did more than just provide a safe space for kids. These statistics are staggering. Over a 4-year period, They help reduce crime in the area by 43%, with violent crime dropping by 66%. Beyond his leadership roles, Leigh has always been a hands-on volunteer. Whether it's collecting donations, organizing events, or simply being a reliable presence at every Rotary meeting. Leigh leads by example. His dedication to the Flags for Heroes program is a perfect reflection of this. Through his hard work, this initiative has become a cherished tradition in Clayton, honoring our veterans, first responders, and personal heroes with a breathtaking display of American flags. And I'll add, with breathtaking stories that our veterans come to share with us when they come out to see the flags. Sometimes it's the first time they've shared their stories about their experience in the service. And I can tell you there are tons of tears when that happens. And these are always totally unexpected stories. Leigh is also deeply committed to fostering civic engagement. As a business owner, he understands the unique role that local businesses play in supporting their communities. If you are a local business, there's no better role model in how to come into a community as a small business than Leigh Hudson. You should look at that model and study it. Since opening Hudson's Hardware in Clayton in 1985, Leigh has consistently used his platform to encourage others to get involved, proving that small businesses can be a cornerstone of civic life. Leigh, your contribution to Rotary and our town are immeasurable. You have made a lasting impact on this community, and your legacy will continue to inspire future generations. And with that, I'd like to pass it over to someone who has worked closely with Leigh on one of his most impactful projects, Mayor Pro Tem Michael Sims.
Good afternoon. In 2020, I got to put my old man glasses on. In 2020, I was serving as president of the Clayton Rotary Club. Does anybody remember what else was going on in 2020? COVID. That's right, COVID was going on. During that time period, it was a bleak time, not just for our nation, but especially here in Clayton. During that time period, Leigh Hudson brought me a program called Flags for Heroes. He said, Mike, let's talk about this. And we had a really hearty discussion. Okay, all right, we argued about it, okay? All right. After some convincing, I said, Leigh, let's do it. I think this would be, awesome. How many flags do you think we should start off with? What do you think? And he said, Mike, I'm thinking about 200. So then we went on and argued again, okay? What ended up happening was something that was monumental. Not only did we sell 200 flags, we ended up selling 500 flags and ended up creating something that was going to be monumental. Leigh Hudson's vision and dedication helped bring this program to life. And today it's one of the most moving, patriotic displays our town has ever seen. Every year, thousands of flags wave proudly, each one telling a story of courage, love, and sacrifice. Leigh, your commitment to honoring heroes has inspired our entire community. Today, on behalf of the town of Clayton, we are proud to dedicate this American flag in your honor. You started Flags for Heroes. Now we present to you a flag for a hero. This flag will stand as a lasting tribute to your unwavering dedication to service, patriotism, and community. I ask that you all stand for the flag raising, and please continue to stand for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Could y'all get that young lady another round of applause? She did outstanding. They wanted me to do it, but I went on and said, I'll just let her do it. Now, I'd like to invite our town manager for some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. Leigh, today we celebrate not just your contributions, but the values you live by. As Ms. Anderson said earlier, Rotary's motto, service above self, and the principle that one profits most who serves best are more than just words. They're the foundations by what you've lived your life, and we've benefited from those here in the town of Clayton immensely. Your efforts have improved the countless lives, from supporting youth programs, as was mentioned, to fostering initiatives that inspire patriotism and drive positive change. At this time, I'd like to give you the floor and ask you to come say a few words. Come on up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Rich warned me 10 minutes ago that I, have a chance to speak, but now I understand I think offered him 20 minutes, and so I'm going to fill 18 of them, it looks like. But no, thank you, Rich, and thank the town of Clayton. I understand, when somebody says, well, they want you at town hall on Monday evening at 6 o'clock, and didn't want to tell me why, but something special. And then as I sort of gather more information about what happened, and I'm thinking, well, who did this? Certainly my Rotary friends know me well, and we exchange gratitude to each other fairly frequently. But I learned today, just within the last 30 minutes, that this was a Town of Clayton committee, and so I thank everyone who, the town council, staff, whoever was on that committee. Thank you. It means a lot more. I don't work with the town staff very often. Hadn't built anything in town in a while, and I've been twisting arms for 3 years to get a town clock downtown that I would pay for half of if we could just get it down there, because something special is coming up in March. It'll be the 100th anniversary of the Clayton Rotary Club. And I thought two things to be really nice. I came up with two because the clock it hasn't been making very much progress. So I said, well, I challenge our members to have 100 members by our 100th anniversary. We're at our peak now. I think 85 is what I saw today. And that's a testament to our club members. And especially some of the new ones that joined the club are getting really excited. All civic clubs are important. Civitan Club in town for years. Look, I love Clayton. My wife and I came down here in 1985. Clayton was truly a sleepy little town in 1985. Ashley Turner was a part-time preacher who was building a house or two occasionally, but really, Clayton was not one of those growing communities as we know it now. And so it really started about 1987 is when the growth started. Probably the best 5 years of my life. We're coming here with a challenge. We got a great location at the corner of Main Street and Highway 70. Somebody called us and said, we'd like for you to look at our spot. He was tired of fixing leaky roofs, dealing with convenience stores, and had a family tie. And so we took two of everything off the shelf in Garner and came down whether we could afford it or not. And the people of Clayton have supported us. We were one of 5 hardware stores here in 1985. There were 2, Lipscomb's Hardware and Clayton Hardware, were a foot apart right there as you start down Main Street. And James Cash had the Western Auto right across the street. George Avery sold seed and feed. And I think it was at White's Auto Parts out on the highway. He sold some hardware, lawnmower parts, that kind of thing. So coming into a 5,000, maybe not even that many people in 1985, was crazy with 5 other hardware stores in town. But we had an ego. I was 33 years old, and my wife, who was very endearing, Aubrey Bunn loved her to death and introduced her to everybody in town, and everybody would come shop with Pug. So we're very fortunate, like you said, to come here and with very little and make the most of it. And we appreciate the support of this community. And when I say that and how we fell in love with Clayton, I have to apologize to my lifelong friend, Buddy Gupton, the mayor of Garner, is here today. I love Garner too. Don't think we still don't love Garner. But Clayton just had that feel, and it still does have that feel. The way Main Street, just encompasses small town is what most everybody who ever grew in a small town wants to get back to that. That's why I want a town clock. Every small town has a really nice town clock. And there's one I saw a picture of in the Bahamas, this comet blue and rotary blue, that would look just great on Horn Square. Is there anybody here? Now look, this is how we restarted the Clayton Rotary Club, okay? 19 old guys having dinner together. We were a dinner club for 85 years. And I knew that we weren't ever going to succeed as an evening club because the kids control the house in the evenings now. So I wanted the club to go to morning meetings, but I said, how do I get them to do that? So just by luck, and I teach this now in Rotary. There were 12 guys at the meeting, which was typical. Eddie and Ponder were tolerating us, feeding 12 guys. I know they were losing money every Thursday evening. I just happened to say, how many of you would object to trying morning meetings to see if we can't grow our membership? Well, no Rotarian raises their hand. They think it's the service project, and they don't want to sign up for a service project, and they don't want to be objectionable. I mean, you're asking somebody to be objectionable, so write that down. So, is there anyone here today that would object to having a nice rotary blue town clock on Horn Square? See, it's unanimous. There we go. But Rotary has meant a lot to me. I joined after being asked 3 times by a gentleman named Charlie McCullers. He and another Rotarian would put on their suit and come visit me about every 3 months until I finally joined. And I just got so much good advice and so many great friends. I was in the Garner Club for 4 years before we opened the Clayton store. And I found true value in Rotary pretty early in trusted relationships that I mentioned before. And then it really kicked in when we almost lost our club back in 2008 when we got down to 19 guys, 12 showing up and really not doing Rotary. So at that point, I don't play golf. I don't do woodworking, but for some reason the word hobby popped into my mind. Like I think I'll take on Rotary a little more seriously and make that my hobby. I think I would love to build people and help build community, and I got busy. And Hensley Scott was my partner. Hensley's right over here. Jim Perricone came along a little later. And the 3 of us, and then others, pitched in. We set out to build the ideal Rotary Club, define that, and build it for our community because Clayton deserves a great civic organization or 2 or 3. And the cooperation we've gotten, through the town of Clayton, and especially my sweet Dana Wooten that I visited, and for her first 2 weeks of showing up in Clayton to reinforce how important it was for Rotary and the Chamber of Commerce to have a perfect relationship. And you've been perfect, Dana. You've been perfect. That's why I sort of wondered if we couldn't get the town clock standing up on the street over here. We were hanging on the Chamber of Commerce building. And she tried, and they wouldn't pass it. But no, some wonderful things have happened. And last night I told people, I say, just say yes to something small that you can do here in the community, something you have time to do. And then you'll amaze yourself at the time you can find for something all of a sudden you become passionate about, and especially as a volunteer. And that's all I did. You know, I can't believe it. You know, I had to ask a 21-year Marine veteran 3 or 4 times to do Flags for Heroes. That's beyond me why it took so long for for him to trust me to sell. Yeah, we bought 100 flags and hoped to do 200, and we did 500, and then we did 1,130 the next 2 years. So we've raised probably, I'm going to say, we've averaged $50,000 a year for the 4 years we've had that, over $200,000 for work in this community and abroad through that effort. So we have our signature events now. We have the Christmas parade and we have the Flags for Heroes, and we worked real hard to make those two very successful, and only through working through the chamber who gave us the Christmas parade, because they wanted to do other things, and we had the manpower to do the Christmas parade. That's how it all works. So I love this community. I love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Leigh. Those are great words. No, I can't. So, well, I was going to say, at the end of the event here, we want to certainly invite everybody to come up and take a look about what the plaque that will be mounted here in front of the flagpole is going to say ultimately. But at this time, I believe we have a few members of the community and of Rotary that would like to come up and say a few words about Leigh. Is there anybody that'd like to? Our Mayor of Garner, watch out.
I wish you'd do this much good for Garner. Jeez. That's great. Yeah, no. Well, Lee's a great guy. You heard a lot of great things about him. I remember when this guy was about 4 years old, and I was about twice his age, and he was running around making trouble in his mom and daddy's store. But you forget how much fun this guy was. If you hadn't been on a camping trip or a ski trip with this guy, you don't know what fun is. Riding a van to West Virginia through the middle of the night, he only knew one speed on the skis. That's point them downhill and let them eat. Get out of the way. And he knew that. He was a great neighbor for 30 years, but I got to confess one thing. It just got under my skin, Leigh. He got in the habit of naming his dogs Buddy. And he'd be yelling, Buddy, get out of that road. Get back. Buddy, put down that dead rabbit. Buddy, quit wallowing in that crap over there. He ruined my reputation out there. But I love him anyway. All right. He even let me drive his cyber truck.
I'd like to invite anybody else that would like to say a few words. Marty?
Thank you, Rich. One thing you don't do is you don't tell Ruth no when she asks you to stand up and speak. So you don't tell Leigh Hudson no either, as you have all heard today. But thank you to the town for just an outstanding event. It's great to see the mayor of Garner here. I feel like I know him better now. John Long and myself picked Happy and Leigh up last night and took them to the council meeting, and I can tell you, Mr. Mayor, we spoke a lot about you, and I have heard some of those stories, and I won't repeat them, I promise you. But we had a hilarious time. But to look at Leigh Hudson is my hero. He is a role model to many Rotarians that are here today. I've always wanted to do this.
If you're a Rotarian, a Clayton Rotarian, raise your hand. If you were sponsored by Leigh Hudson, leave your hand up. Okay. We've often said it's probably 75% of our club was sponsored by Leigh Hudson. And that's how you get in. You have to have a sponsor. Well, Leigh Hudson was my sponsor. And he used to tell this story a lot, so I'm going to tell it to you because it's a personal story to me. But many of you that were sponsored by Leigh, you have the same kind of personal story I do. But years and years ago, I think it was about 2011, 2010, Leigh and I were one of many judges that were judging senior projects at the high school. And Leigh came over and sat, and we started a conversation. Well, probably about the third word said was Rotary. And so we started talking about Rotary. And obviously, Leigh, he invited me, as he has many of you, to a Rotary Club meeting. Well, I, like probably many of you, I didn't take the first invitation. I didn't take the second invitation. 3, 4, 5, 6 calls later, I said, well, maybe. He said, I got you this time, buddy, because there is an NC State professor speaking, Dr. Mike Walden. Well, that did it. Wolfpack, I'm all about it. So that's how I got started, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. I owe it all to Leigh Hudson. It has opened up so many opportunities to me. So I cannot tell you thank you enough. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon. So he's yelling short story. I'm not going to tell. So my name is Jim Perricone, for those that don't know me. I've been in Rotary since the first morning meeting that they held. I'm one of the few people that was not sponsored by Leigh Hudson. I actually chose, I wanted to get back into Rotary. I'd been in Rotary for 5 years prior to coming to Clayton. And it took a little while to find the club where they met and get to a meeting, but I made it. And there was this guy there that was talking about we have to turn this thing around. And his passion was, I think, contagious, is the best way to describe it. And Hensley Scott was there as well, which Leigh mentioned. And it sort of became a band of brothers for a short period to get things rolling. The story, and I can't tell all of it because, there's got to be a few secrets between guys, but I got to go to my first president elect seminar with Leigh, and I roomed with Leigh. So in the interest of humor, when I came back, a lot of people asked, how was it? And I said, well, the best part of that trip was finding out whether Leigh wore boxers or briefs. So when you get to room with him, it's a whole different experience. And we got up early and we went to bed late. That's all I'll say is he was like the ever-ready bunny, going, and going. And I can't say enough about those early years. They were fun. His energy powered the club. Again, as Marty indicated, you really didn't have a choice if he wanted you in the club. Some people stuck, some did not, but the club continued to grow. And again, it's just hard to imagine Rotary without Leigh. Thank you, sir, for what you've done.
Was there anybody else that would like to speak?
All right. My name is Stone Gully. For those who don't know me, I'm speaking on behalf of our family today. I'm the youngest of 3 grandsons that Leigh didn't have to have, but he chose to. We were our late grandmother Pug's 3 grandboys, and from the very first day that Leigh met our oldest brother Jeff, he treated us as if he was our grandfather, and that means a little bit more right now because he is our last living grandfather. And I'm a Rotarian as well, thanks to Leigh in the Garner Club. and have already been president with the looming arrival of my first baby girl in January. So I got mine out of the way. But one thing some of you might not know about Leigh is the care that he took for our grandmother. About the past 5 or 6 years, she went through dementia and her health diminished, and Leigh put everything that he grew in this community and Garner on the back burner for her and for our family. And you can name all the accomplishments that he's done, but to me, and I think I speak for our family, there's nothing that can go above that. Fast forward to after she passed, and we meet Karen, or many of you know her as Happy, and the roles have now reversed. And I don't think we've publicly said a thank you to her as a family for the care that she has in turn showed to Leigh through what he's been through these past 2 years. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news and talk about the negative things going on. And Leigh joked last night that he said Mark Twain has a quote that says I say it as the reports of his demise were premature, meaning that he hopes that this wasn't because of his condition, and we know that's not true. But anyways, I wanted to just give a little more personal note for what he means to us. And Brad Paisley has a song that says he was the dad that he didn't have to be, but he was the grandpa that he didn't have to be, and that's something I'll never forget. So thank y'all.